What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture, and boy, do I have a video today. We are discussing some more issues coming from CGC. All right, before I get into it, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please, everyone, take some time to do so. Check out all the awesome links below, including how you can become a patron of the channel for only $3.99 a month, the price of one new comic book, where you get all kind of extra perks, including entry into all of the Patreon-only contests, and of course, you get to help support this channel. But I appreciate you all being here today. We're just gonna go right into this issue. You see on screen here some poor fellow that sent in a 9.0 Wiz Comics number 53 to CGC for what? A reholster. All right. So before I read what happened and we go into what happened, let me just dive into why I'm making this video. This video is to really discuss, does that little white sticker with that black number mean anything? Does that number mean anything, right? So let's read what happened to this individual, all right? Now, keep in mind, before I read, I want you guys to keep these things in the back of your head. One, this looks like a decently newer CGC label. It's kind of blurry. I can't tell the case, so I'm going to assume that this book was probably sent to CGC maybe no more than 6-7 years ago. I don't know exactly when they switched to the label that you see on screen. If anybody has that type of knowledge at the top of their head just from looking at it, please feel free to share that in the comments. But this definitely isn't, probably more than a decade old plus when CGC had the obvious older labels that they used in the 2000s, all right? So keep that in mind, all right? Also, keep this in mind. I know this is a Golden Age book, but this is a 9.0. Okay? It is a extremely high grade book, as noted by CGC when it went into the slab. All right? We're going to read the white here in the middle of the screen and read what CGC wrote to this individual and what happened with their book. Here we go. Hello. Thank you for your recent submission to Hoarder. I regret to inform you that our graders determined that Wiz Comics number 53 book will receive a lower grade than what is currently on the label. While rare, books can incur damage due to excessive handling by collectors and transit carriers, as well as improper storage. Due to the fragile nature of the item, CGC must evaluate each book before reholdering to determine if the current grade is accurate. All right, before we get into anything else about what happened to this book, I want to focus on this issue right here. This is an issue, all right? Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to go right down the middle of the road here, and I'm going to play both sides, basically. I get it. I get what CGC's saying. I get that once a book is put in a CGC plastic casing holder and is sent back to its owner, things can happen to that book over time, even in the case. But let me tell you, does this invalidate the grade? Does this invalidate the grade? Now, because I'm looking at it like this. How much damage can be done to a book in a casing like this? If you take into the consideration of what CGC does, they contain it in their some type of polypropylene bag, and it sits in the slots. I don't know what you actually call them, but they're slots that it actually sits in, so the book isn't supposed to slide around, right? And then you have the holster itself. Now, we know that it's not full-on containment. Most people know that. So the book isn't going to protect against, keeping it in a very moist or high humidity type of environment, right? So you need to take care of the book. We do know that. But to what extent should we expect this grade to be hindered if we're just keeping it decently in the slab? And I know this is just one picture and it's not a very clear picture, but I'm looking at this book and It looks like I don't see any sign of the CGC casing being thrown around and cracked and scratched. The book is still looks even in the casing, and it didn't look like it wiggled around very much at all. I mean, it looks like whoever had this kept it in a good condition. Now, I don't know if it was kept in storage where there was high humidity. Maybe that got into the casing. I don't know that. So I understand CGC trying to protect itself, but it just boggles my mind how much room for, I don't want to say error, but how much wiggle room there is to say this book is a 9.0 and now it's no longer. So what does that mean for selling CGC or CBCS or any slab book on the secondary market? What does that mean for it? It means that that number is invalid because we don't have notes, or we don't have all of the information present. There's no way that we can be aware of what type of environment the book was kept in, if it was thrown around. If that case looks good and the case isn't scuffed and the book is sitting in it like it should, we are to assume that that grade on that sticker in the top left corner is the grade of the book, right? No. Let's continue on to what they say. So they give the customer some options here. This is what we can do. Please confirm your desired option from the choices below. 1, refund the reholder fee for the damaged book. And they mean damaged, meaning that it's not a 9.0 anymore. And return it back raw with the rest of your reholder at a reholdered invoice, right? So basically, they're not going to charge you anything. They're just going to return your book back to you. But now it's a raw book. So if whatever you paid for this book in a 9.0 CGC already slabbed, or you paid to get it slabbed originally, you're losing money. No matter what, you're losing money. Here's the second option they give you. Reholder the damaged book after adjusting the grade to reflect its current condition and quality. Grading fees for the appropriate tier will apply for the damaged book. Being that it's a CGC book and it didn't uphold to the grade that's already on the current slab, if you're going to charge, I would at least give them a discounted charge, like half the cost or something. Jeez. Anyways. Or 3, here's the third option. Elect to press and grade the book to potentially help elevate these new defects and improve the grade. Pressing and grading fees for the appropriate tier of service will apply for the damaged book only. Okay, so this individual said, you know what? Man, I love this book. It's a high-grade book. I'm going to keep it that way. I'm willing to spend a little bit of money to get my book pressed and regraded and reslabbed and sent back to me. That's what this individual did. So they paid to get it pressed, and they paid to get it regraded and reslabbed. Oh my goodness. Let's read what happens next, guys. Hello, says CGC. I am sorry to inform you that line item 1, Wiz Comics number 53, incurred a detached cover during the pressing process that impacted the grade. Oh, a bit of an understatement there. Let's go on. Because it is impossible to ensure that damage will not occur, CCS will not be held liable for split spines, covers, or pages detached from staples or detached pieces. However, management has authorized a goodwill account credit, not a refund, account credit, saying spend more money at CGC so the next book you send in can get the cover ripped off as well. Funny, right? They go on to say, your account has been credited $450 to compensate for the situation and the estimated value loss. This credit will automatically be applied towards any future grading orders. Why would I want to send any more of my books to you? You just ripped off the cover of a 9.0 Golden Age book. Here, send me some more of your books so I can damage them again. Oh my goodness. Wow. They go on to say, I sincerely apologize for this unfortunate situation, and I assure you this type of occurrence is very rare. Please let us know if you have any. All right. Let's look at this. And I'm telling you all, I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be fair here. We can look at this and say, look, mistakes happen. Mistakes happen. All right? No business that's providing a service, no business that's in manufacturing or anything are without flaws. All right? You buy electronics, you buy vehicles, there's going to be lemons sometimes. You know, there's flaws that happen within business and services. But this is just ridiculous. I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to use mistakes happen. Bullcrap. Here's the thing. I am nowhere near a professional grader whatsoever. CCS is professional graders who get thousands of books every day. And you may argue, well, they get thousands of books every day. This doesn't happen all the time. Okay, here's the thing. I've pressed and cleaned well over 1,000 books. I pressed and cleaned well over 1,000 books. I have never damaged one, let alone ripped the cover off. Well, let me kind of take that back. When I was working with like quarter bin books, when I was perfecting my craft, you know, I probably I think there was a book that I added a little crease to because I put the backing board in wrong, but then I pressed it out, right? I've never ripped a book. You know, I did one time, actually, when I was doing cleaning a book, I took a little bit of color off of Amazing Spider-Man book in one little part. I did take a little bit of color off. Man, that sucked. But that's it. I've graded over 1,000 books, maybe even 2,000. Excuse me, cleaned and pressed. How do you rip a cover off? No, I didn't just, you know, accidentally handle it and ripped it like by 1/2 inch, you know, or crinkled it or ripped the bottom an inch or something. I ripped the cover off. The cover became detached. Wow. Now, it'd be one thing if this was a 1.0 Golden Age book or a 0.5 Golden Age book, but it's not. It is a 9.0, and yeah, maybe they said, oh, we don't think it's a 9.0 anymore, but I mean, how much damage could it incur in that case? You know? How are they going to rip the cover off of a 9.0 comic book? Something happened that should never happen. I'm going to stand firm in that statement right now. I don't know what happened, but I can assure you from maybe somebody falling asleep at the wheel, being overworked, or they're just, you know, this goes back to me talking about CGC being understaffed and overworked. Or maybe, you know, they're shooting the crap and you know, having a drink on the job or getting distracted. Who knows? I don't know, but this should never happen. A cover being detached from a book should never happen. But let's go back to the topic at hand here that I really want to focus on. And that's the grade in that top left corner. If we are paying all this money, we already know that we don't have transparency to the grading process. We already know that a grader can go in on a good day and, you know, maybe they just maybe they just proposed to their girlfriend and she said yes, or, you know, it's their last, maybe they're taking a vacation to Hawaii and it's their last day before their vacation and they're going in and they're on a good trip and they're like, you know, yeah, I'm feeling good today. And they're like, oh, this book has like 3 color breaking spine ticks, but I'm going to give it a 9.0. I've seen it happen. You can ask other fellow YouTubers. I won't say their names, but oh man, just one comes to mind, and the individual, you know who you are if you're watching. Love you to death. I remember when you opened up this book and it was a 9.8 and you were like, what? Okay, moving on. I can't even comment on that because of all the color breaking spine ticks. We already know that this process is not transparent and there are inconsistencies in the grades already, because one day a book could be a 9.8, another day it could be a 9.4. One day a book could be a 6.0, the next day it could be an 8.0, depending on the mood of the grader or who's grading it that day. We don't know. But now we have this. Now we have a situation where once you give them your money and they evaluate that grade and they put it in that casing with that label and put that little nice fancy white sticker with that black number, 9.8, 9.0, 6.5, whatever it may be, and they ship it back to you. They're basically saying that once that book is encapsulated and put in a packaging box and shipped back to you, that grade is already null and void. And they are also saying that no matter what you do with it, the longer it sits in your collection, every time you pick it up to show it off in a YouTube video, or every time you pick it up just to show your friend that stops over for the day and you want to show off your new 9.8 Amazing Spider-Man number 300, well, you may have picked it up one too many times and now that 9.8 is a 9.6. And maybe you picked it up a few more times. Maybe you moved, and as careful as you are because you've been collecting for 35 years and you're safe with your stuff. But maybe you moved and on the trip, now that 9.6 is a 9.2. And then it sits in your room for 10 more years. You show it off at a couple YouTube videos. Maybe it falls over off of a stand one time, but look, the case is perfectly fine. The book didn't even move. And now it's an 8.0. And here's the other thing. What I've noticed with cases lately, with the books that I got back last year, they move around. They move around, and I showed this off in a video. You guys could go look at my unboxing video that I did last year, or my CGC unboxing videos. If you take most of the books that you're getting back from CGC, guys, I'm talking to you right now that have gotten books back from CGC recently. Grab a CGC book of yours and wiggle it around. And tell me if that book in there moves, even just a millimeter or a half a millimeter. You know what that means? It means that that movement within that slab is lowering that grade. So what does that mean? That sticker is null and void. So when you're going on eBay and you see a book that has a 9.0 or a 9.8 or a 6.5 or a 4.5, that grade means nothing. It means nothing. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Now, am I being too harsh for this? No, I'm being real. I'm being a realist. It's just a fact of the matter. It's not even my opinion. It's not even my opinion at this point. It is a fact. It is a fact that that grade means nothing as soon as CGC determines it means nothing. CGC already determines the grade for you blindly with you not even knowing how they come to that grade. And then they're going to tell you you could send it back in, but if we say it's a different grade, it's a different grade. So we could keep sending our books in blindly and not caring. Now, here's the thing, because I hear this all the time. Well, there's always people that call CGC out, but then they just keep sending their books back. I hear you. And I have my yearly annual renewal. I think it just renewed again. But here's the thing, guys. I said this earlier in this year, and I'm going to say it right now. I do believe I'm going to stick with sending my modern books to CGC this year. I'm going to do it. I do have some that I actually might want to sell. And because of that, that's why I want to go with CGC. I want to get that high fair market value for that CGC slab, possibly. I don't sell books, but I have a couple that I have more than one of that I might send in. But I am going to use CBCS for the first time this year. I'm going to use CBCS for the first time this year. And I might switch moving down the line for the future. Now, here's the thing. And again, I don't slab up and grade a lot of my books. but I do appreciate having my keys graded. I do appreciate spending, just that couple $100 a year to do that. And that's it. And that's it for me. That's all I need. But this is alarming. And I know it's not just CGC. You're saying, oh, well, you're going to go send them to CBCS and they're going to do the same thing. Well, maybe so. But I haven't tried out CBCS yet. And I don't know what their new cases look like and feel like and how they hold the book. So, but I'm going to tell you what it does do. As much as I may send books into CGC again this year, but I'll tell you what, I'm more and more hesitant to spend money at these grading companies because of this. What's the resolve? Now, look, at the end of the day, I said, I understand that grade in that top left corner isn't concrete just because, damage can be done to the books, but it seems that the most minuscule things can take place to change that grade, even if it's just the opinion of the day. And I just can't trust that myself. It's hard to trust that. So my advice to everyone is this: if you're going to keep spending money on getting books graded, I'm not here to tell you not to, because I'm most likely going to in the future myself, but just be cautious. All right. Be cautious. And if you're buying books that are already slabbed and graded on the secondary market, do your best. Become a good grader yourself. Read the Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics. Learn how to evaluate grades for yourself, and just do your best to educate yourself when you're in a position to buy. Even if you're buying a book from online, look at those pictures and assume a grade. Estimate a grade, and don't just go off the sticker on the slab. All right? Look at all the pictures, zoom in, and judge it to the best of your ability. That's my advice moving forward. The biggest thing for me, too, outside of, the reholstering thing and them saying, oh, it's not a 9.0 anymore. The other thing is just them coming to how they come to these grades in the first place. I watched a great video just last night from Economic and Comics that talked about, what really makes the difference between a 9.8 and a 9.9? And it's like, are we just saying, oh, well, it's perfect, it's a 9.8? I highly recommend you guys go watch that video. But so I've already had issues in the fact that the process itself isn't transparent. And it needs to be. It needs to be, and I will always say that. But now, to see how easily a book can get judged when you just send it in for a reholster is just more uncertainty for me to trust giving grading companies my money. And then the horror story of them ripping the cover off. Wow. Absolutely wow. So with that being said, everyone, I'm going to leave it at that. I want to know what you guys think in your comments below. Does this change your perspective on CGC? Does this change your perspective on grading companies and the grading industry in general? Are you still going to send your books to CGC or CBCS or even EGS or PGX? Let me know below. And again, if you aren't subscribed, guys, please take some time to do so. Check out all the awesome links below. My Patreon.com, official Journos Comics merch. Of course, as always, check out our Comic Book Canon channel where we have our live streams every Friday night. You don't want to miss our shows. We have awesome special guests almost every week. So again, be well to yourselves, guys. Be kind to others. Thank you for watching, and until next time.